Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has been out just over a week worldwide now, and it's absolutely dominating the box office. Critics seem to hate it, fans seem to love it, but much more importantly, what does this guy think? After the original Sonic movie was released, I had to detox myself from it. I obsessed over the development of that movie in general and on my YouTube channel, and I found that while I loved that movie, a lot of it was ruined because of the amount of research and analysis I'd actually done on promotional material. With Sonic the Hedgehog 2, after I saw the launch trailer at the Game Awards, I made a conscious decision to take a hands-off approach for this one. I didn't watch every trailer, I didn't do much analysis. Basically, I really wanted to be surprised while watching it so that I'd actually enjoy myself. I liked the original movie a lot. I thought it was going to be a dumpster fire, and they completely saved it. It wasn't perfect though. I felt the movie struggled to reach specific high points, lacked true emotional stakes, and Jim Carrey's Robotnik portrayal in particular felt a little bit flat, only really reaching its potential towards the end of the movie. This film needed to deliver a fair amount to match my expectations, and I can easily say it met and exceeded them. But is this a good film? Does it respect the source material? I can answer that second question straight away. Yes, it does, to an astounding degree. Sonic 1 was retroactively fixed by appeasing the fans, adding small Easter eggs and a full-on redesign. This was a lesson learned by Paramount with the success of the movie, and by the same token, this entire film is non-stop fan service handled with meticulous care and effort. The movie's plot is a loose retelling of the Knuckles vs Sonic plotline from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, forced into the canon that the first movie established. As well as having those key moments, there are an abundance of throwbacks, Easter eggs, and iconography from the Sonic franchise at the forefront. These types of references include specific moments and shots, the Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Adventure's box art pose, Sonic losing his rings, complete with accurate sound effect, Knuckles riding on the side of the Eggmobile, a full-on Sonic-style level, complete with spikes, traps, water slides, and a hidden palace-style boss fight. Sonic's fear of water, gun, Sonic and Tails flying the tornado, a showdown with the Death Egg robot, Robotnik riding a little red lawnmower in reference to the first boss of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Super Sonic. Those are only some of the things that I've referenced or added, but they aren't the only thing that I found worked. The lore of Sonic has changed with this movie series, and while I never ever could have predicted that the backbone of this universe would have been a war between the Owl people and the Echidnas over the Master Emerald, I really enjoyed how those Owl-style ruins that were kind of in the backgrounds of levels like Aquatic Ruin Zone and some of the other temple-style levels. I loved how that was kind of adapted into the movie canon, even though it kind of went against my nostalgia. It fitted really well, and I really liked that new addition. The movie is admittedly held up by this stuff. If you're a Sonic fan, it's really hard not to get excited about seeing these things on the big screen. And to that point, if you're an outsider to it, it could be a bit off-putting. Saying that though, I enjoyed a lot of the film on its own merit as well, and my girlfriend who joined me to watch it really did so as well, with no logic of Sonic really at all, and there's lots of reasons why. For a start, this film is funnier than the first. There were a lot of lines that got me, even stupid ones like referring to the Olive Garden yet again, references to Limp Bizkit, or Robotnik wanting his coffee to taste like mushroom. Speaking of Robotnik, my prayers were answered, though I still think he's a little bit of a lean mean bean, which isn't truly accurate. This Eggman portrayal was so much more enjoyable than the first film. The fact that he looks a lot better is obviously a highlight. It felt like the evolution of the character from the first movie had paid off completely. Jim Carrey brings great energy to the role this time around, and his relationships with both Knuckles and Agent Stone are so fun to watch unfold on the screen. Tom as a character is slightly relegated to the background this time around, which for Robotnik's sake I loved. He's focused on taking revenge on Sonic, not Tom, and is not in any key conflict with him at all until the closing moments of the film. That was a change that I appreciated, as I didn't really like how they had clashed in the previous film. Robotnik never really felt like a threat in that original movie, especially with your average Joe character decking him whenever he could. Tom was never really fazed by any of Eggman's threats in the original film, so the lack of that here was really appreciated. Gotta bring up Agent Stone again. Lee Majub is also fantastic in this film. I think we're gonna see a lot more from him in this franchise. He's very funny, owns every little scene they give him, and he added to my enjoyment of Robotnik as a character immensely, and I don't think the film would have flowed as well without him. All in all, I loved how they handled Eggman's story beats, the betrayal of Knuckles, and even his use of the Master Emerald was really fun to watch, and he felt far more dangerous and unhinged, whilst still being very comical and fun to watch. Huge thumbs up there. I think they did an awesome job with Robotnik this time around. As for the rest of the cast, Ben Schwartz is continuing to defy expectations for me as Sonic the Hedgehog. While he's still presented as a child, he's extremely likable in this role, providing good laughs and being very easy to get behind. He feels much more like a kid to the Wachowskis in this film, as opposed to the kind of buddy cop vibe they were going for in the last one. But that works really well with Sonic's coming of age story this time around. This actually sets Sonic up to be a little bit more like the Sonic we tend to know from the modern game canon, and the addition of Tails really kind of helps establish this. It makes Sonic feel a bit more mature with a little bit more responsibility, and yeah, you really see that come together as the movie progresses. Tails is literally dragged and dropped from the Sonic game universe into the movies, with Colleen Shaughnessy, the voice actor from the games, delivering another great performance as Tails that feels completely at home with this new Sonic voice actor. Just a really great performance. Both the characters have a lot of really sweet moments, and I have absolutely no faults with either of their portrayals. Obviously, Knuckles was the biggest addition to this film, and probably one of the things most people were the most excited to see. It's no shock, being played by Idris Elba was really, really cool. Idris did an awesome job as Knuckles. He has good intensity, he genuinely brings legitimacy to Knuckles as a warrior, and even provides some good laughs as well. I will say, at times, he felt a little bit like a poor man's Drax the Destroyer. That's not a knock on Idris Elba, that's more of a knock on how the character is written. When you see a character done as well as that in the Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers films, with a performance like Dave Bautista's, it's hard to not think of Knuckles as kind of a light version of that to an extent. It's obviously not the end of the world, similar characters exist, but yeah, he felt like a light version of that. There was also some moments with Knuckles that differed from the original launch trailer they showed at the Game Awards. In the original movie announcement, he had the last line of dialogue in the reveal trailer, delivering a powerful bit of dialogue before smashing Sonic into the ground.
Do I look like I need your power?
That moment isn't here this time. It was actually a completely separate line in the scene that came before. It's a real shame, actually, that moved around, because it made Knuckles look like an absolute boss originally. Not a big deal, but that is kind of what happens when you kind of mix and match things from trailers to try and trick people or make things seem a little bit cooler when you're hyping stuff up. There are some scenes that I've seen in other reviews have had more criticism than others, namely an espionage mission wedding towards the middle of the film. I get why this criticism is there, namely that the scene drags on for a little bit too long and feels very, very out of place. I personally didn't actually hate it. Undeniably, it felt a bit long and a little bit irreverent, but that kind of added to the comedy for me. It had no place in a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, that much is true. And while intentional or not, the kind of absurdity of it being there and dragging on for as long as it did kind of just made the scene feel more funny to me. The cinema we were in really kind of came alive for that whole set of scenes, so yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I can see the criticism completely, but at the same time, it was just as absurd as the fact that a Sonic movie exists, so yeah, I didn't find it too difficult to swallow. I've also seen other criticisms, such as how the Death Egg robot was actually operated. Robotnik obviously controls it with his own movements this time. He kind of moves his arm and the robot moves his arm, things like that. This to me is something that makes sense when you adapt something like this to a film. Jim Carrey is over the top as they come as far as performers go. He's a very physical performer. You really want to get the most out of him as an actor in those big, pivotal scenes of the movie. So obviously he is going to be doing a lot of things that require him to move around and be big and be theatrical and over the top. So it was really minor change to how the robot worked, and I don't know, I thought it worked. It wouldn't have had the same impact if it was kind of like a Power Rangers shot of him sitting in a cockpit. I just don't think it would have worked. So the biggest problem I had with the previous film was the seeming lack of stakes that there were involved, and thankfully the stakes are much higher in this film. Sonic is immediately outclassed by Knuckles from the get-go in this movie, making their rivalry hold some real weight whilst making Robotnik actually feel like a threat as well. This comes together in an unbelievably fun conclusion, which builds up across the film, from a world tour of emerald hunting to great battles and character development to Sonic, Tails and Knuckles facing off against the Death Egg robot. With my hand on my heart, I can say in a world where we got an absolutely awful Dragon Ball movie, I literally can't believe that I saw the 7 Chaos Emeralds and Super Sonic on a movie screen in 2022. I can't understate that enough. Super Sonic, and it wasn't awful. Holy fuck. What the hell? I still can't believe that I saw that. I absolutely loved it. Leaving the cinema, I heard a kid say to his family, "That was the greatest movie ever." And not lying, hearing those words did get me a little bit emotional. It sounds so stupid, but I'm getting older, and seeing much of my childhood and teen years come to life on the movie screen like that was literally magic. It really did mean a lot to me to see a lot of those things recreated in a semi-realistic, big budget way. Even though the film stumbles in a fair few places, and it is obviously nowhere near the levels of other family films like Mitchell's vs. the Machines, incredible film. This does not hold a candle to a film like that. It honestly kind of feels like a Marvel Genius film, which is either a good or bad thing, depending on how you look at it, I guess. I think it's really important to accept that those critical opinions out there are valid and have some good points, but ultimately, at the same time, a bad review would have never, ever stopped me from enjoying this film as much as I did. And I think it's worth focusing on why I enjoyed it rather than why someone else didn't. This movie was nothing but dumb fun and fan service. And that's all it needed to be. It fucking ruled. I fucking love this film. Now, speaking about the sequel, I half expected it in the credits, but almost didn't believe it would happen. Shadow the Hedgehog is coming to the Sonic movie universe. What is going on? Not only is that bizarre, it blew my mind. I really thought we'd at least get, I don't know, Chaos or Metal Sonic first. So it's really interesting to think about how that third film is going to pan out and how they're going to try to pull this off again. The Sonic and Shadow relationship is so similar to Sonic vs. Knuckles, so doing it so soon after this film feels like it's going to be a challenge to pull off, but I'm very interested to see how they go about doing this. People wanting to see Keanu Reeves already. I'd like to see that, but Idris Elba proved that a surprise would be nice. Either way, I'm excited to see more from this movie franchise. I'm a little bit scared that they're doing too much too soon. I think there's a real risk of them kind of blowing through all these characters and plots way too quickly, but I guess we'll see what happens. That's my thoughts on the movie. What did you think of Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Did you prefer it to the first movie? Do you agree with the critics? Do you think it was just fan service and nothing more than that? Let me know in the comments section. And of course, if you enjoyed hearing my opinions today, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell and all that jazz. And I will see you soon for the next one.